Hey guys, this is Wallace. I'm doing another video. Um, I feel good. Last video I just did made me feel pretty good, and I just want to do this video for fun. But I wanted to talk about a few things kind of funny to me. I enjoy sometimes just kind of relaxing, doing videos, or whatever. Smoking nicotine, hanging out with my buds. They don't have names. Alright, so this is a weird part. Actually, I was going to talk about like a totally different topic. I was going to talk about money. I was going to talk about magic and stuff, but like I think it's more funny and interesting to me. I'll probably talk about that too, but why don't I like names? It's because I'm ridiculous. Um, like there's a part of me that's like imagining like a war going on that doesn't exist, but maybe in some weird way, in a fantasy way. You ever see those like live action role players or whatever? I'm just gonna go ahead and shit. Okay, this guy's good enough. There's nothing wrong with this guy. I'm just being weird and dumb. All right, so imagine this has to talk. This has to do with one of the topics I want to talk about, anyways. Magic. Imagine being able to do spells. Imagine magic. Like I call them spells because that's what I read in books or whatever. Imagine seeing spiritual stuff that totally contradicts everything you've ever known. Okay. Imagine being a ridiculous guy like myself. And this is giving me anxiety, that's why I'm talking like this. And then living a normal life. Or trying to. As a vampire, but as a person. Clearly, it'll change how you look at life. Clearly, my body, like if you were to talk to someone who believes in magic and spiritual stuff as well, and I would consider, there are people who believe in spiritual stuff that don't necessarily believe in magic exists, but so take that. I'm so dumb right now. I'm trying to. I've like my feelings right now are like funny, ridiculous, and like sincere anxiety and pity for myself of how I what I'm trying to say. Like I'm trying to encourage myself to actually talk about this because I've never talked about this, and it's because it's silly and dumb. But it's serious to me, and sometimes I may or may not say. I'm like embarrassed. Um, that yeah, there's more. There's like a war going on, right? Like a spiritual. And sometimes I say this and I say it mockingly and I say it in a southern accent typically. But I'm like, there's. I feel like you ever see the movie Constantine with the guy who plays Neo in the Matrix? Like these are like clearly these movies contradict and make you think about how the world works, right? Not like the movies are based on reality and in reality, but they add this complexity in addition to. Let me move this right. See, I have this light on my phone, and it blocks the. Like, I want to see what my eye is doing. I got one eye going one way, the other. Anyways, so you got this complexity to life, right? To what we accept to be societal norms. Okay. The characters in these movies, you could clearly see that they they evolve and become aware of things, magic or spirituality, or like in the Matrix, like this, that things aren't as they seem. And they basically develop this kind of like these personality traits that have to do with dissociation. That's a clinical term. But also, they find ways to cope with these truths that they may or may not like, but they learn, and even the displeasure of these things to them, they learn to like and to build a life around. So, the topic I want to talk about with money, and what I was too embarrassed to say earlier, are related. Like, why would I give a damn about a dollar bill? Or I have a story that goes along with this as well, an ironic, contradictory story that I want to talk about. But why would I give a damn? Why would my body, like my insides, give a crap about making money when there's it's like being in a movie. There's like spiritual stuff. There's magic. There's supernatural creatures. It's like, I don't want to believe it, and I don't want to believe. My body resists the awareness of such things and wants to deny that and laugh at it. And yet, the irony is I am one. And still, even being a supernatural creature, and I want to say of sorts, like I want to downplay it, but no, I'm a gosh darn vampire. I've got a video series. I've got people, so many people who know me as a vampire, and yet still, I want to deny. That's definitely, I know that's a psychological thing. That's a human thing. But the effect on my body, looking at living a life where I'm buying rental properties and, finding some sort of pleasure in a fakeness, a falseness that I perceive. Not saying it is, not saying it's wrong, not saying any of that's wrong. I'm just saying for me, the amount of lying I would have to do to myself is so immense that the challenge in it of itself is kind of alluring to me. Like, it's interesting. Like, yeah, I could actually. That's kind of an interesting thought. Like, could I do it? Could I lie to myself that much to actually, you know, do these things? I think I could, and it'd be quite the acting experience. The intensity of acting and being an asshole, and sometimes I believe one and the two are just the same. The degree of assholeness and the skill of method acting that would be required for me to give a damn about rental properties, sitting behind a desk and making my life based around dollars would be so that would be, given my character, my true character, and who I am, would be such a feat that it does seem alluring. So the other day, the story I want to talk about, and again, I'm putting off my embarrassingness. I keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. I find it funny. I think it's an actual character flaw that I'm embarrassed. No, screw the story. So when I develop, sometimes this is extremely, extremely embarrassing for me. I I put on a southern accent. I stand in the middle of my room, and I get myself motivated sometimes in the morning and say, "I am not the best." Do you want to know why they call me the best? Do you want to know why they call me the best? Because I do not tire. This is hard. This is like hard for me to even do right now because it's so integral to like. Forgive me. I'm gonna screw this up. Do you want to know why they call me the best? Because I do not bleed, I do not tire, and I do not give a fuck. Do you want to know why they call me the worst? Because I do bleed, I do tire, and I do care, I do give a fuck. We are at war, ladies and gentlemen. We are at war with the dead. Because the dead do not stay dead. And then I kind of go more passionate and more like, do you want to know why they call me the best? Because I do not care. I do not bleed. I do not tire. And I will not die. The dead do not stay dead. I kind of go, and I do variants of it, stuff like that. But it motivates me. But it also reminds me there's a truth to that method acting that gets me pumped up. And even motivational of sorts. It has an effect on me, my life. And the effect is that it pokes, the expression poking a bear? It pokes the bear inside of me that says, hey, buddy, you're going to go about your day, but do not forget, there is other stuff out there. You will forget the other stuff that's out there. But in this moment right now, do not forget. It's almost like, I don't know what the expression is, paying remembrance, paying something, but remembering. Because it's not stupid, it's not silly. It's for real, but also at the same time, it is stupid, it is silly. And you're about to forget everything. You're about to forget it. Because that's your body's way of protecting its rationale. It's you don't need to remember ghosts and goblins when you're ordering a coffee, But anywho, yeah. So the story. Thanks for letting me share that. My feelings right now are just like I'm very silly, but also like the embarrassment is less embarrassing, given that I do truly believe in supernatural stuff. So, the story early today and yesterday as well. Here I am outside the coffee shop that I like to frequent, Panera. Panera's the best, one of the best, but clearly one of my favorites. There was a couple gentlemen sitting outside, and an older fellow seemed quite nice, and I'm this strange looking character. I look much younger than I am, and yet I wanted to be outside and join them. It was a nice day. I want to drink some coffee, get ready for work. I'd work in like a couple hours or whatever, or maybe an hour. So I sat behind this other character, the third character, who was a businessman, clearly a businessman of sorts, on a computer. He was in a meeting. I wasn't aware that he was in the meeting until I sat down. Sat down behind him, being respectful, but also a complete asshole. But that's kind of the norm for me, to various. I'm typically a complete asshole, but like depending on how I feel, and clearly it's various degrees of assholeness. usually mixed with kindness and just wanting to be left alone. Anyways, I'm sitting there, and I could hear, and I'm analyzing some of the different voices that I'm listening to in his meeting. Now, you would say that may or may not be wrong, but to me, just sitting there not being conscientious, I've already made this, like, this is me being extremely irritating and obnoxious, but I clearly was ready to sit down and enjoy my coffee. I have already picked the destination. I've already committed. I'm sitting down, and it just happens to be this guy in a meeting, and he's talking about real estate. He's talking about making money, and like, to me, this is me mocking him, and he absolutely deserves it. And why I say that is that I enjoy mocking people in a loving way when they're, to me, they're playing a character, but they're also hilarious. Like the businessman playing his character, and my if I was to me mocking and playing fun at his character, you try to look for a motivation in a character, right? Like I'm trying to sound like I'm a professional actor, but in a way I am. His character, his motivation, I could put into a phrase. And the phrase is, I'm going to make money. And then, when I'm done, guess what? I'm going to make more money. And then, after that, I'm going to make more money. And then, I know it's hard to believe, I'm going to make even more money. And more money. I mean, just like the greed. More money, more money. Just it becomes like insane. Like, but lovingly, I was sitting behind this wonderful character, in contrast to everything I was saying earlier about my inability to give a damn about making money. I found it absolutely intriguing. That, and the situation was beautiful. You have a businessman, and then the other character, which makes the story even more interesting. I was going to say that, you have a businessman, and behind him, a vampire who doesn't give a damn about money. And then the third character is an old man nearing the end of his days, sitting with a walker by himself. Very obviously not. There's humor to him. He's wearing like a Hawaiian shirt. There's humor, and he's, I hadn't really noticed him until about 5-10 minutes into this, and I kind of give a look, a gentle look, not very intense. Clearly, I was minding my own business, and he kind of looks at me with a sexual fascination. So, there's definitely a sexualness to it, and to me, that's a compliment. But also, it makes a story even more interesting. You have the businessman doing his business, and he's got a team of people. Yeah, I can hear the voices of the people, like I said, and they're hilarious. I can hear the different assholeness and irritation of these people who are just like, I don't really want to work. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see and hear. And you have me, this not give a fuck kind of character who's a vampire and easily identifiable as a vampire. And then you have the third character who's an old man nearing his end of his days, who's kind of being erotic and sexual to it, and not really giving a damn about anything. But you have three people who don't give a damn about different things, who are living their very different lives. Yet here we are, sitting outside. And as I get up to leave, um, the old man catches my, I'm out with my electric bicycle, and I'm about to get on my bicycle, and the old man says, "Hey," he starts asking me about it, and he's, very not give a fuck. Sorry, my language, I know, but this is appropriate for the story. Very not giving a damn about things, as a very self-confident, old mysterious character would be. um, he's talking in a loud voice so I can hear, but the businessman is clearly still in his meeting. The businessman is being loud, he's sounding frustrated, preoccupied with managing his team or whatever. But the old man says, so do you need I forget what he says, but something along the lines of like asking me questions about my bicycle, but giving me eyes like a fascination, but not really giving a damn, but a fascination and an interest in me. So he's asking me questions about my bicycle, and he's kind of being funny. Even makes a little joke, but the whole time I don't say anything. No, I'm quiet. I'm using hand signals and facial expressions and smiles and stuff to express my respect, kindness, and admiration for this man, not only for his character, but for his behavior of being a complete asshole in front of this businessman who's, it's like, what the fuck? He's in a meeting, but you kind of get that feeling at one point where the guy's like, what's going on, which make so all of these feelings I feel for this old man. And he makes a little joke right before I leave to show, to me that means, he's showing compassion and showing just, like, you're great, and I'm great, you're great, and this is funny, and this is enjoyable. I appreciate you. And I do one of those, like paying respect to him and his funniness. And I take off and I leave. Yeah, that was enjoyable. Um, but I have a lot of feelings right now, a lot of feelings inside, and kind of serious feelings. Um, what matters most? What should matter most to me, for others? And what complicates that? My father, as a character, to me, would essentially, without voicing it in words, say, "Cut out the crap. Cut out the crap. Cut out all the crap. All the crap is not necessary. The ghosts and the goblins, that it's all." He would get angry. But to me, and to a lot of my, you know, friends or people I'm friendly with, the crap is what makes life all the more interesting. So, yeah, just want to make this quick little video, although it's not a quick video anymore. It's like, but just having fun. Um, I definitely have a lot of feelings I'm going to think about. And, these are therapy videos for me. Um, revealing videos for me. They reveal things inside of me. I like revealing things so that I can deal with the feelings. Some not so good, but some um, inspire me. So, yeah, that's that. And thanks for watching. And have a good night.